Hi, everybody. Asaf Somekh from Iguazio, co-founder and CEO. Sorry, I'm moving too much. A few words about the company before I jump into the details. We've been around for 4 years. The founding team are members from companies like Mellanox, Voltaire, Extreme.io, and XIV, all successful exits in the Israeli scene, all related to data, and we'll see how we use it at Iguazio. We have employees across the US, Asia, where we have offices in New York, in Singapore, and recently also we started working out of UK. Most of us are still here in Israel, and in total we're about 80 of us. On the investment side, we had 2 rounds of funding. First one was 15, second one was 33. Top VCs from Israel and strategic investors, as you can see, Verizon, Samsung, Bosch, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, and Dell. All of them are heavy users of data. All of them are trying to innovate in the using AI to actually, we've heard it in the previous session, there's so much data, but how do you actually turn it into business? How do you apply AI on all this data that you gather in real time or the historical data that you have and turn it into real result in business? And there are so many types of ideas and solutions and people that are coming with new ideas around AI applications, data science, machine learning, deep learning. Everything looks great when the stuff is done at the lab. But then we see a big difference when this has to actually go into production, turn the business, bring some ROI, because at the end of the day, people are doing this to make more business for their businesses rather than just for the fun of it. This is a recent study that was done at Google. They looked at, when you have a new data science project, a new AI application that people are building, this is how they envision that they will be actually spending their time on that application. They hire expensive data scientists if they've managed to find them, and then they expect that blue part to be the majority of their time. But then reality kicks in, and this is what they do. Actually, they spend most of their time on the boring part, on the overhead part, on actually bringing the data, enriching the data, combining, cross-correlating, building the infrastructure around it, and then that tiny part that is left for the real AI part, for the real training, the machine learning, developing the model, is a big waste that we see right now in the market. The bottom line there is that 70% of AI projects are failing. By the time you're in the lab, you see great result, you see kind of the seeds of what could be a great outcome for the business, but by the time you get to the finish line, you actually see that the project actually was a waste of time and no results are brought to the business. We tried to analyze why is it so? And then we went into the world of an application, the entire life cycle of building an application from the seed, from the initial idea, all the way to bringing it to production. And you see so many stages, so many, in some cases we hear customers telling us we're back to the 80s because there's so many processes. It applies to different jurisdictions and disciplines within the application development stage. At the end of the day, this process is actually what's hurting most companies that are trying to implement AI in their businesses. And then comes Iguazio. And we have built the company in a way that actually takes those AI models, those AI ideas, and through the lab stage all the way to production in a way that is simplified, in a way that is automatic, easy to develop, easy to deploy, and bring results in production. This is our platform, our data science platform that actually relies on special sauce where 3 elements that we have within the platform. One special sauce is around a very powerful data engine that is in the heart of the platform combined with the serverless framework that we develop, and it's part of the open source community called Nucleo. And all of that is packaged together with very popular data science and analytics tools that comprise together the iguazio data science platform. So essentially, you just place a platform, connect your data sources, and from that moment on, your developers, your data scientists are spending their time on the business logic rather than the boring infrastructure that is needed for those applications. At the end of the day, customers with our platform are delivering predictive analytics to their businesses, predictions around recommendation engines for purchases, matching products. We work in the telco spaces. I'll show you some examples. Banks, small customers, big customers, and all of them benefit from developing applications faster, delivering models that are much more accurate when it comes. At the end of the day, when you build a model, you want the prediction to be correct. You want those alerts to be correct without all those false positives. So when you work efficiently, you can actually get to that. And the iguazio platform normally gets deployed in the cloud, but we see today a big move that is going towards deploying such applications at the edge, closer to the data sources in many different markets. We'll touch that too. A great example is a global telco that we work with that have been doing the same for years. They've been connecting all their devices across the network, and they have all those monitoring tools. And once they had any kind of problems or outages in certain areas, they had all those red lights flashing, and they had to scramble and fix a problem. They realized that with AI, they can actually change the way they're working and become more proactive, and using predictive algorithms, find those outages before, identify the problem before it actually becomes an outage. They try to do it in the classic way that people are doing right now in the market using the Hadoop ecosystem tools. They were working on it for 6 months and failed miserably. Started working with iguazio, and within weeks, they managed to develop a platform that actually delivers those predictions. So instead of seeing those red lights and outages, now they can actually predict a problem in the network. Using AI also, they can actually identify the root cause. All of that is done automatically, and the last stage of applying the fix is also triggered through all of these chain of events, and eventually problems are fixed before they actually become real problems within the network. This is, for me, actually taking AI, applying it to businesses, and getting their ROI from such application. Another recent announcement we had was with Samson. Samson became a new investor for iguazio, but also we work with them very closely in the field. And this was an application that was built for real-time recommendations, applying real deep learning on that application. This is a benchmark that was done in Amazon with and without iguazio, and you can see that the amount of transactions, meaning the scale of this application to be able to actually handle recommendations for thousands of customers rather than a few, is being achieved with iguazio rather than just taking and deploying it on the infrastructure as it comes from Amazon as is. With iguazio, it's actually 4 times faster and more handling more customers at the same time. I mentioned the edge before. So building these applications in the cloud is great, and we see most of the market going there. But more and more we hear about edge wars, where the cloud companies are now picking the next battle between them. This is exactly what is happening right now. If you think about factories that are analyzing their data, they can't just move their entire data set that are generating by all the sensors to the cloud. The cloud vendors are realizing that now, that some of those decisions, some of those data handling operations, some of the inferencing has to happen closer to the sources at those factories, at those regional data centers where you're collecting data from moving vehicles. Not everything can happen in the cloud. And this is where we've been partnering with the cloud vendors on such deployments. A big market in this space is the retail market right now. We see not just the Walmarts of the world moving more intelligence into the branches. We see it happening, very competitive market, happening across the large, medium, and even the small chains that are moving intelligence there. But then how do you build those applications in an efficient way, a simple way, where you know you can't actually have IT people in the branches? So this is where we collaborate very closely with the cloud vendors in using our technology both in the cloud and at the edge. So with that, these are our top partners. We're working, I mentioned the top cloud vendors, Samsung, Equinix, NVIDIA. That is a key ingredient in any AI application these days. We're also a proud donor for Tmura. I think they're doing great work for the community, and that's our way to give back. And that's it from iguazio. Thank you very much.